Hello and welcome to my final piece video. Today's video is going to be all about my fashion subtopic, looking into what is the meaning of life, in which I answer the question, basically to be happy. To start off with, in this subcategory, I talked about how a lot of my choices in day-to-day life is based around my fashion and my looks, because it's what makes me feel confident. The first thing that I did within this subcategory was draw out all the outfits that I wear that I'm proud of and make me feel the happiest. From there on, I decided I wanted to look into a few of my favourite visual artists and their senses of styles. I would say my biggest inspiration for my fashion style / designs are Jasmine Bean, as well as Victorian / Lolita inspired themes. A lot of my style is very whimsical, elegant and fantastical, so I really wanted to create a look that really emphasised my style in one outfit. So the first step, as all good artists do, is sketch out a few ideas. Now I went with the first one I drew, which you can see me outlining here, because I knew what I wanted to make straight away. The ideas came to my head, which, thinking back, I should have done maybe a couple more sketches to see if any other ideas came to mind, but I'm happy with this outfit. The one thing that was very consistent in all my ideas were the fairy wings. A lot of Jasmine Bean's outfits are fairy, mystical creature inducing sort of vibes to them, so I knew I wanted to become a fairy in this outfit. As well as the wings, I knew I wanted to get some pointy little elf ears, because I just thought that was the most adorable thing and would fit in the theme of fantastical creature-like vibes. As well as having quite an elegant style, I also love the idea of having a cute, frilly pink princess dress made look to be dangerous and threatening, i.e. the big, chunky boots. The first thing I decided to do was start to design the wings. I found this pattern online of these really cute fairy wings that someone had designed, and here's me just printing them off. I used this app that enlarged the photo, so it's meant for posters, but you can do it with just whatever, so I used that to scale them up. Once all the sheets have been printed out, as you can see here, I sellotaped the back together to make sure they would stay together so I could mould the wire I got to the shape of the wings that I wanted. I only printed off one side of the wings because I was just going to flip it round and do the wire that way. Little did I know this was going to kick me in the ass later. Also, yes, I did film this entire thing in my pyjamas. You just have to deal with it. I then just lined up the wire to the pattern, and voila, you've got some metal wings. I also forgot to record the cutting process of the fabric, but all I did was lined it up with the stencil using the paper and cut around it. I just got finished threading this and it took so long, I want to cry. But we're done. Can we just start hemming this? Now, here is when the biggest downfall occurred. I somehow managed to confuse myself and hem the wrong side of one of the wings. This meant I had to unpick the entire meter-long fabric and hand stitch it all because my machine decided to stop working. If I did this again, I would research more in how to make the fairy wings and not just YOLO it and stick some very fragile fabric to some wire. It was also very messy and it frayed a lot, and they don't look as neat as I wish they were. Despite the entire malarkey with having to unpick and restitch everything by hand, the fabric was actually a really lovely colour and feel, and it had the exact atmosphere that I wished it had. It was very see-through and very fairy wing mystically like. Now here is when I had to improvise with an old sock, because the wire that I had twisted, as you can see there, was very sharp, and I didn't feel like ripping any of my clothes or being stabbed. So I made this contraption made from an old sock and some of the spare fabric I had, and I just shoved it through to create a barrier between the wire and myself. This was used as an anchor point for the wing, so I wouldn't have to have visible straps on the wings. After I had finished creating the wire armatures, the support mechanism, and cutting out the fabric and hemming it, I started to sew everything together, the final last step. Now, I am very much not a seamstress. As much as I love sewing, I don't do it very well. I'm a very messy and unorganised person, and it very much reflects within my sewing. So, I've been listening to art podcasts and other wonderful YouTube videos while very finally hand stitching all of this beautiful work. This is here so I can have some softness on my back when it's like this, so it doesn't jab me in the back because it is metal. And I've been doing tiny little stitches all along until both wings are fully stitched on, and then they'll be done and I can sleep and try them on. But I'm just going to finish this now. It is now 8:17. I've been working on these goddamn wings for 6 hours. 6 hours. Six more ways to finish. Not that. I've stitched all the way around here. All the way around. All the way around. All the way around to there. I only have this bit left to do on this wing, and then we have got a whole other ass wing to do. I'm not looking forward to that. It's dark outside. I've started sneezing. I've rubbed off all my makeup. It's all on my hands. My fingers are cold. I'm cold. I see no hope. But I will finish these wings. It's the last thing I do in life. So yeah, I'll check back at when I finish this wing and I'm trying it on. So as you can see, I had finished this one wing and it was driving me insane, so I decided to put it down for the night after this. I really wish I had taken my time more than the 12 hours that it took me to make these wings, but like, I wish I had hemmed it properly and measured it properly and done everything perfectly. So, it's 9:15, next day. Guess what I found out I did last night? I hemmed this wing the wrong way, so now I'm unstitching it to then re-stitch it the right way. It's 10:14. This took me an hour. My face is a mess. It's got makeup all over it. But I finally unpicked it. Now it's time to use the machine again. To finish sewing this. I'm very tired. done. They're done. My wings are done. I have wings. I have wings. He's back. This took so long to make. Was it worth it? Absolutely. Am I now a fairy? Yes, I am. I can't complain. I look fabulous. I'm invincible. I have wings. Square up. Square up. As you can tell by the last clip, I was more than overwhelmed with happiness and joy that I had finally finished these wings. In total, they took me 12 hours to make. I ended up finishing the fairy wings on the scaffolding outside because it was a very nice day. There were no builders on the work site, so I was like, fuck it, let's jump out my window quick onto the scaffolding and let's do the rest of the sewing. And I did. I do wish I had taken my time more with the wings and made the fabric more accurate. Maybe researched a bit more into sewing and not just go for it. But I didn't really have much time to do it. Obviously it took a while, so it's better than nothing. I am still very pleased with them and they do look amazing. However, after wearing them a little bit, the wire is so flexible that it kind of distorts the fabric and it makes it look weird, so you do have to readjust it a little bit. But yeah, all in all, I think it went alright. I definitely do need to start thinking more about what I'm doing, especially with sewing and longer tedious projects like this. Like sometimes when I'm doing work it's okay to just zone out and do it, but sometimes you do actually need to think about what you're doing, and those wings were a hard reality check for me. I wish I found a way to hem them properly so they don't fray, because they do look really raggedy. However, I guess that does look to add to the look of cute but dangerous. It's like, ooh, what's that fairy been up to? Why is their wings all tattered? So I guess it's a positive as well as a negative, but I wish they looked a little more elegant. Originally I was also going to do 4 wings, like 2 on each side, but that idea just went out the window when I realised how long that would have taken. In the beginning I tried to do a mock-up with some coat hangers and that didn't work at all, so I just completely scrapped that and bought some wire. I got the fabric off eBay and it was listed as fairy wings, blue-green, so I was like, oh hell yeah, and I snatched it up. One of the major holdbacks I'd say was my sewing machine not working and the fact that we have to self-isolate. I couldn't get most of the resources that I probably could have used to make this look better, because I can't obviously leave my house, so I had to buy everything online, and that did end in some interesting purchases, especially with limited budget, but I think for what I had it turned out alright, and it's gotten the job done. For the hair, I really wanted long plaited elegant hair, very much inspired by Jasmine Bean and her hairstyle, just a little bit longer because I think that would have looked prettier. Obviously I don't have long hair, so I had to make do, and I decided to buy a long wig off of eBay. Now I was having quite difficulty choosing what colour. I was originally going to go for a baby pink, but I decided let's go for a black because then it will add to the gothic style which is represented within my fashion. In the beginning the wig was very choppy and long, so I did have to trim it a bit, and I started off with having it down, like in this video you can see how most of the front is left loose and just flowing. However, wigs tend to knot very easily, which I learnt the hard way, so I decided to end up putting all of it in braids, except from 2 little sections in the front. The braiding idea for the 2 in the front definitely did come from one of my favourite visual artists called Jasmine Bean. However, the braids in the back fully just came from practicality more than anything. As you can see here, the 2 braids in the back that I added and the 4 braids in the front with the loose bits of hair. Something very useful I found out is that my fringe, my actual hair colour blends in with this wig. So instead of wearing the front where it should be, I wore it on the back of my head, which gave me some extra length on the wig. So I think the wig is one of the most successful parts of this. I styled it by just brushing it and plaiting it, brushing it if it came out of place and knotted. In these videos, these are just my TikToks that I made because it's the only footage I actually filmed of this process. But I'm glad I went with the black. I think it works very well and adds to a gothic theme of it. I also added a small little silver thing in one of the braids, but it looks, you can't really see it in any of the videos, so I think that was a bit pointless. I wish I was able to go and find some more dramatically pretty ribbon for my hair. I think if I had the funding and the resources, I would much prefer to get a naturally human haired wig instead of a shiny wig, because as much as I like it to be fantasy, I also like it to be realistic and look as if it could be a real thing, bringing fantasy to life. And the shine of the wig does kind of take away from that. However, it's not so noticeable that it ruins it completely, so I'm okay with it. I definitely do think the wig was the most accurate to the design I had planned out, and it really does bring all of the qualities I love together. It has the Victorian Lolita feel to it, whilst also bringing in a fantasy vibe with all the braids and with all the ribbons and bows in it. I think it brings it all together. I do wish I could have used a more natural wig or something to reduce the shine. I looked into it, but there was nothing that really was suitable for the wig. Now, I think the outfit is also one of the main things that I'm very proud of. Don't mind me dancing in some of these TikToks once again. The only footage I decided to film. So the outfit was basically made up of this one dress that I saw on Depop that I fell in love with, and that's where I got the idea from the design, as well as shirts and blouses that I had before, and some shoes. I knew what type of shoes I wanted to, but I had to do a little bit of searching for those. As you could see just there, they were the ones I ended up with. I wanted cute dolly shoes, but platformed. I knew I wanted platform shoes, so I went on Depop. Usually I would go around charity shopping because it's the most resourceful way to do it. However, lockdown has kind of made that impossible, so Depop is the next best thing. So I found these cute blocky sort of school shoes, and I fell in love with them, so I got them. I'm really happy that the colour scheme of the dress matches the wings. As you can see here, the dresses are bluey green and so are the wings, and it just ties it all together perfectly. However, I wish I had some more natural earthy tones within the look, because I think it looks really synthetic and a bit washed out and that's not kind of the idea I was going for, but you know, it looks okay on paper, but when you put it on, it looks not as good. So maybe I would have gone with a more natural colour rather than mint green. I'm really not all that sure how to feel about the outfit, because the shirt has little daisies on it, and it should be theoretically a very cute and representative of my fairy aesthetic look. However, I think something went wrong and it didn't hit the mark, if you know what I mean. However, with the global pandemic going along, it has been a little bit tricky trying to find materials, and I certainly did not have enough time to make a dress and didn't have any of the materials. My sewing days were done, but it's good enough. It's good enough for me.
From above, everyday would seem turning into love song. Press me to your I would with roses when you speak, angel, sing from above. Everyday would seem press me to your I would with roses when you speak, angel, sing from above. Everyday would seem turning into love song.
So there we have it, the complete process of creating this wonderful design. All in all, I think the look is a lot more cutesy than dangerous, and I think I really lacked out on that aspect, and I really should have thought about my colour choices more. However, with the quarantine, there has been a lot of disadvantages and drawbacks to this project, and it's really a shame, because I feel like I could have done so much more with more resources, more materials, but it is what it is. If I could do this again, I would probably look more into patterns and fabric uses, as I really wanted to use nylon, but apparently it wasn't available. So I'd really like to work with materials that I am very much more appealed to, rather than just like cotton and lace. And I would definitely remake the wings into much more holdable shapes, maybe add some designs, and just make it more stable. I would have also liked to neaten up the edges of them a bit more, but time crunches have to happen sometimes. Both the hair and the ears are, I think, my favourite part of this, as well as the wings, but they're definitely the ones that match the aesthetic best. So, I hope you enjoyed my video. That's the end of that. I hope you subscribe and like. Thank you. Okay, goodbye now.